Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I hope everybody out there is having a good night. Tonight's show is going to be a little bit different. So as you can see, I have a co-host tonight, and Carl may even pop in for a while, but I have a guest tonight. Her name is Connie and Henning, and I am so grateful to have her on. We met her in person we met her in person a few weeks ago, but we hung out on Saturday and had a good time at a really old graveyard out in near Cantonment, Florida. And we're going to talk about some of the places that she's been, part of that walk around. It was more of a walk around than it really was an investigation.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to her about that and going to tell you what we're going to be doing together in the future. So welcome, Connie.
Hi, thank you.
So everybody knows we are all now part of a group, Panhandle Paranormal of Pensacola. And it's a really big, it's a large group, but they wanted to have a few more members. And, I interviewed Rob Booth last January for the first time. And I've interviewed him a couple more times. We've hung out together. And he asked us if we would join up, and apparently Connie too. And so we're all excited to be part of a group, but still ourselves. So we're gonna talk about some of the stuff that Connie has done prior to being here. And we're gonna talk about the old Muskogee Cemetery out in Cantonment as well. So welcome, Connie. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Me too. See how it goes. I need to forget everything we talked about on Saturday, though. Go back to the very beginning before we met, kind of. We actually met a few weeks ago at a bar that Rob brought us all to, but it was more of a meeting. Meet and greet. What do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? It wasn't really, we couldn't really talk a whole lot, because we were in public. People might think we're a little bit weird. I didn't care, but it was a bar behind a strip club. So how weird could we have been, right? Not too weird. But we didn't get a lot of time to talk. So on Saturday, we got some time to talk. And Connie, how did you get involved in the paranormal to start with?
I have always been fascinated by the paranormal for many, many years. It really started when we went to Appomattox Courthouse with me and my 4 children. And I really got some sensations. Kind of got more into it at that point. But in 2019, me and my best friend decided that we were going to get us a group together and, start doing it more. So we started out with Spirits of the Southeast. And so we started going to Trans-Allegheny, St. Albans in Radford, Virginia. We done a West Virginia Paracon and in the North Carolina Paracon, but it was mainly just, it's always been a fascination. But what really got me was when I really started getting experiences, and of course everybody thought I was crazy and laughed at me. And then when I found somebody that got into it as much as I did, here I am.
And where was your first team located at?
We were out of Wilkes County, North Carolina. I lived in Millers Creek and she lived in Elkin. And it was just a 2-man team. Then we brought in one of her son and 2 of my sons. And then my brother come along and wanted to go with us. And we tried to expand, but nobody really wanted to commit to it like me and her. And, we were always trying to do something.
And so what brought you to Florida?
Oh, I had a Christmas in the mountains that was -7 with the wind chill of -4. Yep, I'm done. I'm going south where it's warm. So,
Yep.
but I've always wanted to come to Florida anyway.
That's us.
Hey, Mom. And hello, town.
And Tom, I hear it's cold in Chicago and it's cold in St. Louis. So, and it's a sunny and 70 here, going down to 35.
No, it ain't that cold.
So that's what they're calling for. We're just not getting the freeze warning that they're getting up in Alabama.
That's right.
Did you cover up your plants?
No.
No,
I don't.
I just brought one in.
No.
So that's only because it's a peace plant and they're not supposed to be outside.
Yeah, yeah. Everything I've got, if it lives indoors, it's a surprise because I've got such a thumb. I kill everything. So,
Well, I got a philodendron and a cactus that lives in the house. Oh, and an orchid. Everything else is outside because I kill everything inside ever since my snake plant died. So ever since then, I've been fighting to keep stuff alive. But, you know, it is what it is. So, and anything outside that's alive, I'm surprised if it makes it. Because I don't know what they planted in our yard. So, figure it out someday.
Everything made it except a couple little.
Green things.
They're getting replaced anyway. So
They're little green things. I don't know what they are.
yeah.
So, so good luck figuring out what I got in my yard. But so when you've gone to all these places, I'm going to assume that some of your favorite places are places we've never been. That's first off. Of those places that you've been, where would you tell somebody that you're guaranteed to have a paranormal experience?
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Say that fast 5 times. No.
I have been, well, we call it TALA, T-A-L-A. I have been there 5 times, and every time I've been, I've gotten activity on every floor. And there's one room in particular that I absolutely love to go to, and that's Lily's room. And it was a little girl that was there, and go in there, you take candy to her, take balls and dolls and whatever, but she will actually play ball with you. You can roll the ball and she'll roll it back to you. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, and for those of you, if you don't know Trans-Allegheny, that place is huge. You have a lot of rooms to pick from.
Mm-hmm. How many buildings are out there?
Well, there's 3 back buildings and then an asylum, and then there's a tuberculosis building off to when you're looking at it, it's to the left, but they don't let anyone in the tuberculosis room or that building.
Yeah.
And the main building is 4 stories, and they say that if you take all those stories down and set them all side by side, it takes up 8 acres.
Yeah.
And then they've got the medical ward, the geriatrics, and I'm not real sure what they called the building that's in the back, but it was more of an outtake building. And that one, I didn't really do much in that building. The medical building is really interesting, especially the attic in there. We had a lot of good experiences in the attic. But the main asylum itself is amazing.
Are all the experiences that you have there positive, negative, mixture of both?
Mixture of both. There is, I wanted to say it's on the 4th floor in one of the back wards that there is supposedly a demon in that area. I think it's just somebody that wants people to leave them alone, but it's really a strange feeling. It's not a welcoming feeling on that ward. And like I said, I feel more like somebody saying, hey, this is my space. Get away, get out. I don't want you here. I don't want to communicate.
Why do you think that?
Because I really don't get anything evil. We went up there one time and it doesn't really feel evil. It feels like, some just wanting you to leave them alone. I mean, there's not really growling. I mean, nothing that you would think would be evil. But, these people, the majority of towers they done lobotomies in it. It was drug addicts in that ward. And so, yeah, I mean, it's more to the point that it's more like somebody just telling you, leave me alone, get out of here. And of course, that is the drug addict ward. And those, to me, those people always, they want to be left alone.
Right.
Now, over on the other side of one of the other wards on the other side of the building is the alcoholics ward. They want to play cards. They want to party.
You said when we were together, you said you bring cards and stuff with you. Is this one of those places that you play cards with the spirits?
Yes. One of the spirits up there, his name is Larry. And he loves playing cards. And I believe I think another one was Frank, if I'm not mistaken. And, but yeah, that they love to play cards. We take cigarettes to them. We take, candy. Yeah. I carry a bag full of candy, old fashioned candy, like the Charleston Chews, just the older types. But, I'll leave it all throughout places that I know where they like different things.
I take the old candy too. Charleston Chews are great.
They'll
keep you going for quite a while.
Yeah.
on a trip. So the chewy candy helps get me through. So Charleston Chew, Twizzlers.
Yeah. And
a Reese's cup here and there helps too.
Yeah.
So I take it that's your favorite place, right?
Tala is by far my favorite.
Yep.
Now, St. Albans in Radford, Virginia, it's a little more daunting. I was comfortable enough. I enjoyed the investigation, but it's not somewhere that I really want to be back. I didn't get a very welcoming feeling at all in that whole building. And at one point we were down in the basement doing an SD session and I got pushed. I got scratched and I was like, yeah, I'm the one blindfolded and, headphones on. And, at one point I was like, yeah, I'm done. I can't take, I've got to get out of here. I just very, very heavy feeling in that area. And that's not a place I really felt comfortable. So I don't know. I would go back with a crew, but if somebody else planned it and invited me, I would not make the arrangements and do it myself.
Jonathan's been there.
It sounds like an interesting place.
How many times have you been scratched?
Just that one time.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's the only time I've ever been scratched. I've been pushed quite a few times in different places. And my best friend at Tala had her hair pulled, and she thought it was me playing a joke on her. And of course, I'm all the way across the room, and there was no way you could have done it.
You're not going to tell her you don't have Stretch Armstrong arms?
Yeah, she would like to think I did at that, but
a friend of mine used to do events in Radford there at St. Albans, and we've never been, but it was one of the places that we really wanted to go at some point, because we would go visit my mom in Eastern Kentucky and figured it's not that much further. So, but nope, never made it over there. Kind of don't make it to Virginia often, at least not.
We accidentally went in there. We were driving back to your mom's, and I'm on the highway, and all of a sudden I just look up, and there's a sign that says Trans-Allegheny. And I said, that's right up here. I said, we got to stop in. We did. We walked, let's kind of walk around for a while.
Yeah.
We wanted to do a tour, but we'd had to kill 5-6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we needed to get going. So
yeah, we'd promised my mom we would be there that night. So you don't tell your mom that you're not going to be there.
Yeah.
At least not when it's one of the last times you know that you're going to see her. Because I think it was.
I think it was. Yeah.
So, but it's interesting anyway. Are there other places that you went that were big name? Did you ever do any private residences or anything like that?
We did do a private residence for a friend. It was her son and her daughter-in-law that had something going on in their house. And we got in there, we checked things out, and then we brought in a really good friend of ours to come do a cleansing, because somebody had been in there playing around with stuff they did not understand, and they had opened some kind of portal. And so we had got together a couple of weeks later and went and done a cleansing. And that was kind of interesting. It wasn't nothing really evil, a mean old person. And it's like Chris had said to us, if they're assholes in life, they're assholes in death. Mm-hmm. And so, and this guy was pretty much that. And then we've done the Montgomery House right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, around Stanley. Mm-hmm. We did do the USS North Carolina, that was really interesting. And so mainly we mainly like to go to Tala just because we know it's a guarantee and we get something every time. And, we've been planning on trying to go to the hospital on College Hill.
Where's that
at? West Virginia.
Okay.
West Virginia is a plethora of paranormal.
That's why Dave Spinks has written 3 books about West Virginia.
Yes.
In fact, what's funny is my mom told me the story of the Greenbrier ghost before I knew anything, before I shared any paranormal stuff with anybody. But she used to live in that town. And so that was the one where the ghost got the person convicted that killed him. So Dave actually, I think he said that he investigated that property.
Yeah.
So, and you've been to Dave's store there in Summersville or near there. Mm-hmm. So he's a good guy. He promotes people in the paranormal that are good people.
Right. Yeah. And we did investigate in the Sorrel Weed House in Savannah.
Oh, okay.
Didn't get a whole lot there. Got a lot. I mean, we could feel them around us, but as far as, just kind of readings or any EVPs, we really didn't get a whole lot.
A friend of ours went there, Jerome.
Yeah.
went to the Sorrel Weed House, and he had nothing but nice things to say about the place, but I don't remember what he said he had as far as activity goes. I have his DVDs though.
Yeah.
That he created. He filmed everything. He never went through it after that, but he filmed everything.
Yeah.
So before, at one time, he gave us copies of all of his DVDs, and I haven't had a chance to even listen to them at this point, because computers don't come with those anymore.
Right.
Yay! But I do have one now that does that, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
We'll check it out and see what we can find. You had said something on Saturday about Savannah, but you also said something on Saturday about St. Augustine.
Yes. So I had gotten back, or I had actually I play cribbage as well. And I had a cribbage tournament in Tallahassee on Saturday. And then Sunday, I drove over to my friend's house in Lake City. And me and her decided, well, St. Augustine's only an hour and a half away. Let's go. So we took off and went over to St. Augustine and walked around, enjoyed a wonderful day. Loved the old city. But we went into the Castillo de Marcus fort. And we really had a great experience between the two of us. She actually pushed me over into a corner and she's like, okay, calm yourself, take a deep breath, tell me what you hear, what you smell, what you feel. And, being in the medical field for so long, the first scent that hit me was blood. And when I said that, she's kind of chuckled and she said, I tasted blood. But the whole experience there was just amazing. I mean, we could feel things all around us and just the cold spots. And we really want to go back and do a good investigation there at some point. Try to get away, hopefully when the crowds are less, so we're not bombarded.
I know they have multiple tours at the lighthouse, and then they have walking tours around town and stuff like that. But I've never been. I mean, as far east as I've been in Florida is Panama City Beach. So I've got a lot of living to do. So,
and yeah, Savannah. Now Savannah that's like a special place to me and Donna. We've gone several times. We've never really gone intentionally to investigate. It's more to let's just go get away, because that's like our peaceful city. We can go, we can walk around, we do their little pub crawls, and at the end we can go into all these other places that they've taken us, the tunnels and that kind of stuff, and we can just be by ourselves, and we feel that's our peaceful city. We feel like all the spirits around us have welcomed us. They want us there, and that's where we go and relax.
I've heard a lot of really good things about Savannah. And again, that's another place that I really want to go. We were talking about doing something with our daughter and family, and they had wanted to go to New Orleans, but something's going on in New Orleans.
It's booked up
for the week of the 25th. So it's like
New Orleans is full.
Yeah, we're full. Turn around, go back.
See, maybe this week.
But yeah, but our granddaughter's on spring break that week, so it is what it is. But we figured out, I said, well, we could go this way and check out Tallahassee, because the kids are all be at spring break. There'll be nobody at the college.
Right.
I don't know where Florida kids go for spring break, but I have to assume it's probably Colorado or Gatlinburg. I don't know. So, but I figured it'd be empty there. And then we decided to go to Biloxi instead. So we're going to check out Bouvier, which is, can't remember the name now. Jefferson Davis. It's his plantation. Okay. And the presidential library is there. And then there's a Confederate cemetery there that's supposed to be haunted. So we'll see what we get to do with the kids. You know, my adult children and my grandchildren. My granddaughter, Piper, she wants to investigate.
You remember those DVDs we had? There's like 6 or 7 of them. They had all the ghost stories in that. Mm-hmm. I think that cemetery you're talking about was one of the little stories they had in one of those. One of the stories on there was in Florida. I know that. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look and see. But Biloxi was in there. Ghost Stories with Patrick McNee is what it was called. It was on Fox Family it was CBS Family, then it was Fox Family, and then I don't know what it is now. They kept changing names. But Patrick McNee from the Avengers TV show was the narrator. He was really, it's important to know that because people, McPike Mansion was also on there. Mm-hmm. But there was like 6 or 7 different shows, series over time. So it was one of those things that I had to explain to somebody a couple weeks ago about McPike. But so you've traveled up and down the Eastern Seaboard and over to West Virginia. Aren't you going to Ohio later on this year?
In August, we're going to Ohio State Reformatory. A big group of us have got that for the night. So I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be something new for us. I'll probably be going by myself from here and then just meeting up with everybody in Ohio because everybody that I'm going with is either from New York, Baltimore, Maryland, and North Carolina. So I'll be probably the only one coming up from down here. And I don't know if there's any spots left open, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to be going.
Just make sure you drink lots of water a couple days before. We've done prisons in the summer, and with there being really no air movement, I've gotten heat exhaustion a couple times.
When we done the USS North Carolina, it was in the middle. It was like July 31st, I believe, was the date we actually done that one.
Oh, that's gotta suck.
And it was horrible. We had to ask them to turn off all the blowers and everything, so that way we didn't need corrupted EVPs. We didn't want anything to corrupt any of our equipment and our evidence. So we asked them to turn all that off. So we would go down into the ship. We started about probably 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, got down, figured out where we wanted to get set up, started setting stuff up all over the place. And then we'd have to come back up. We could only stay down in the ship for maybe 20, 30 minutes max, or we had to come back up and get cooled off because it was miserable. But we had it from like 7 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock the next morning. And, there's 10 of us on this huge ship, but we got some really good stuff. I'd actually set a recorder in one of the turret guns, and nobody even went into the turret guns because we cleared it with everybody trying to find out, hey, who's been in here? And nobody had been in there. And of course, when anybody goes into somewhere new, we always announce who we are and, hey, it's us, we're here. That way, if anybody has a recording device just in there, they can tag us as coming and going. And there was none of that, but I got some really good activity in that turret gun. you know, and I shared it with everybody, and everybody come to think that it sounded like some of the sailors in there loading the gun, saying, hey, the gun's hot, you know, it's loaded, it's hot. And so there's some really good stuff there.
And Tom says it gets warm there at Ohio State Reformatory.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we will definitely be having lots and lots of water. We normally carry cases of water with us when we go.
Yeah, we do too. So I've been in Ohio a few times, but we've never been able to investigate there. We've checked
We've been
out.
invited there.
Yeah, we've been invited there, but that always seems to be at a time when we got something else going on. So now on Saturday, we met up at the old Muskogee Cemetery, and it's spelled different than the other Muskogee. So keep that in mind.
And you got, well, the new group we're with, they were all supposed to meet up there, and a few people couldn't make it. And as it turned out, we were the only ones that actually made it.
Us three.
Yeah. But Connie actually got out there way before us. So tell everybody what happened when you got out there.
Well, when I first got out there, I kind of walked around the White Cemetery a little bit. And then a man and another lady had come up in a golf cart. And they were telling me a little bit about the graveyard and how the wildlife game wardens kept up the cemetery. And I was telling him, yeah, well, you know, I heard there's a black cemetery and an old Indian burial ground. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's way down in the woods. Nobody upkeeps that. And he's like, come on, I'll take you over to it. So he took me down and walked me down through the woods and showed me where this was. And, you know, I was like, okay, great. And he went back up and he left. And while I was still waiting, I was like, well, I still got about an hour to kill before anybody starts showing up. I went down and just set up some recorders around in the different sections of the black cemetery that it's supposedly known. And then I got my dowsing rods out and I went over and I just started sitting around, and I could feel, it was like they were curious, but I could feel everything coming around me. And it's like they were just curious, checking me out. But I was asking some questions with the dowsing rods and getting them to cross them. And, you know, I was getting a little bit of good activity. And then I heard a car come up and I was like, oh, looked at my clock and it was like, oh, I bet everybody's starting to show up. So I grabbed everything up and come up and met up with y'all.
So sorry that we weren't everybody, but we ended up being everybody.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was good. And the funny thing is as you were talking about that, random people came up to take you into the woods. That's kind of weird in itself that you went by yourself with them.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this cemetery is not off the main road either. I mean, it's hidden back there a little bit.
But we did find a good place to go to get, you know, canoeing and maybe camping.
Yes.
Looked really nice as far as that goes. But yeah, it is off the beaten path and well-kept road considering the age. One of the things that I noticed that was odd was when we were going up the road, I was on the passenger side and I'm looking up at dirt going straight up next to me, about 6 feet. And over here, it's not. So apparently they had cut through this hill to put in this road. And it wasn't eroded so bad that it had, you know, watermarks and stuff. So it makes me wonder if it's always been like this. Or if it's just, you know, how they've done this, how, you know, I don't know how old the cemetery is because you and I,
at least 1800s.
Yeah, Connie and I went back in the woods after we got there. I put on tennis shoes and I already had on pants so I could go. Ron couldn't go in case there was poison ivy. Hey, Russell. And we were walking around. I mean, it really was in a horrible state. It wasn't, I mean, it was all overgrown. It was all completely forgotten about. We found one grave that had it was concrete. Concrete might have been an inch thick. So it wasn't very solid. But it looked like you could gotten down in there if you were wanting to anyway. Where was this casket? You know, we couldn't see down that far, but there was also trees and limbs and overgrowth. I mean, there was a lot of overgrowth back there. Just think the next time we go, it's going to be worse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no way, I mean, they said that people had tried to clean that up before, is what you said, right?
Yes, that's what he was telling me, that the University of Western Florida had been out there, and he'd said they'd been out there for like 9 or 10 days trying to clean it up, and they'd actually went out there and started marking the graves with ribbons, and somebody had gone down there and put wreaths out at Christmas time on some of them. But, you know, there's nobody wants to upkeep that area and get it cleaned up. Everybody's
It's been
more concerned
overtaken
with
by
the main
nature.
one. Yes.
Yeah. It's I can see where it would be really hard. There's no good way to get in there with equipment besides a weed whacker, maybe, and maybe some hand tools. So the trees, I mean, we also saw burn scars on the trees, and one of the gravestones, at least one, had been burned by wildfire.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that'd be a good time to go out there after a wildfire burns through there.
Yeah.
Already cleaned. Sorry. Sarcasm. But we walked around and we looked at all these, you know, we looked at a bunch of the sites. And there was a wooden cross out there that was painted. And you looked up the person that was buried there. Do you remember what you said, how he passed?
He was shot.
And this was recent too, not
22, I believe.
Oh, you're talking on the main grave. Okay.
Yeah, and on the cross, it actually said they shot me, but I'm trying to remember, how did that wording go? They shot me, but they didn't
kill me.
Something to that point.
Yeah, and most of the graves on the main graveyard there, the stones were down, and most of them you couldn't even read. I mean, I saw some that were 1800 and something, so I know the graveyard's got to be at least that. But what happened is, I noticed you had the dowsing rods.
Yes.
And then I thought back to Cox Cemetery in Missouri, where the friends Carl and Gary. I remember them telling me that you could use the dowsing rods to find unmarked graves. So a lot of the graves that were up there, most of them you could see were sunk in. You know, some are maybe a couple feet. So I, you know, just to show, I said, you know, looking for unmarked graves. And the graves I went over, of course, you know, it was crossing right as soon as I got over the unmarked. They were unmarked, but they're, you know, sunk in. So somebody was in there. So, you know, you got to see that, which I didn't know, you know, until they told me that. I didn't know you could use dowsing rods for that.
Yeah, and until you said that, I never knew that.
Well, and that's what I was doing, was kind of showing it, because, you know, because they had rocks around it on some, you know, you could kind of see that, you know, there was a grave there. And then later on, we were standing over by the road, and we were wondering, the graves that were down in the woods, we were wondering if it came up, or if, you know, maybe they had went over them with, you know, when they put in the road. And Denise said, you know, start over here. So I'm kind of running parallel, and then I hit a spot where they cross. So I'm thinking, well, I need to go parallel, you know, some direction, because that's usually how they're buried. So I went I went one way and didn't get anything, and then I came back and went toward the fence on the actual graveyard, and I think I got one more. And then Denise says, you're not going to get anything more past that. Well, I continue walking in the straight line up to the fence, and I didn't get anything. Anyway, when I came back, when I started to come back, she goes, your rods are getting ready to cross. And as soon as I got to a spot, they crossed. And she said, keep going straight. And I went straight. And she goes, they're getting ready to cross. And they crossed. And I'm like, how the hell are you? How do you know that they're going to cross? She'll tell. Okay. She told me on the way home how she knew.
But she knows, because I told you guys that we were being watched from the woods.
Yes. And you had also at one point while he was doing that, you had your foot on the ground and marked a spot and told him they would cross at that spot, and they did.
Yep. But she was seeing the people.
Yeah.
In those spots. That's how she knew.
Oh, she was seeing them in the grave.
Yeah.
I seen them standing there.
She said, what did you say? They were like, their clothes were raggedy, but they look fine. They look, normal. But their clothes were kind of raggedy.
Moth-eaten, worm, dirt, whatever. It was just, I think that was their way of telling me that that's where they belong. So there's unmarked graves underneath that road.
Yeah.
At least half of
So
them.
did you go out on the road and check it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the road we were parked on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, kind of like what we have at the cemetery where they put
exactly.
the road
I said
right
it kind of
through our
reminded me of Cox
cemetery.
Cemetery.
Yeah.
But that's why it was such a big deal that, here's this high hill, but the road's cut into it. And it might have been a lot smaller road, but the graders got bigger over time.
Yeah.
And it just made the road bigger. And that could be what happened. And they didn't know. Yeah. It's because there's no stones out there. Maybe they didn't know that they were driving over graves. Or again, maybe they did. But it was.
They may not have. I mean, even the ones up on the hill,
they're hard to tell.
Yeah. If they weren't sunk in, you wouldn't know, really.
Do you know if anybody knows the history of that area? I mean, was there a ghost town? I mean, is it a ghost town now?
According to that man that came up, he lives down there. He said that he's lived there all his life. And, he told me that it's been a cemetery as long as he knows. But he didn't give me a whole lot of background, but just enough to know that it's always been there.
I'm going by based on the name that there must have been a town of Muskogee there.
I think it was a community. From what little bit of research I managed to do before we got out there was an actual little community of Muskogee.
Yeah, there probably was. I told her, I said, I wouldn't doubt it because it's right off that river right there.
Yeah. And, but he's told me that, he was raised in that area and, he's probably in his 70s, maybe 80s. So, it was real interesting just to hear what little bit of knowledge he had about it. And he said that he would love to go up there and clean it. But every time that he's asked to even go up there and mow, they tell him no, that, they don't want any gas powered equipment up there. And he said, but what do they bring up there to clean it? They go up there and mow it. Like he said, about twice a year is when they go. And of course, like I said, they don't do anything with the black cemetery down in the woods.
Well, I tell you, I can see why they wouldn't want somebody up there. Those big holes. I mean, these were actual holes in the ground, not just divots or sunken areas. There were big holes in the ground. Like I said before, ankle breakers.
Yeah, you gotta remember the soil here is mostly sand little bit of red clay. I mean, just a little bit. So it's going to sink over time.
Yeah, not even really red clay, more like red sand.
Yes. That's yeah. Because I mean, even after it rains, you can go out in what looks like mud, and it's not. You walk in the house, and you're not tracking mud in your house. It's just kind of wet.
Yeah, and well, with all that, what I thought was red clay from the road and everything down there, by the time I got home, yeah, it didn't stain my car. And I'm from North Carolina, the mountains of North Carolina. You get red mud on your feet, you're stained. Everything is
Yeah,
Right.
stained.
Everything it touches is stained. Like Oklahoma.
Absolutely. And this didn't stain my shoes. It didn't stain anything.
Right.
We've gotten used to that now. It's great to have.
Oh, the other cat's
grass
up
like
there
that.
now.
Yeah. This
Hey, Sue.
is D. See, we ever get her brother's name was Sam. This is D, our supernatural kitties. And if we ever get another animal that's a boy, its name's going to be Crowley. We've already decided. So, but yes, this one has just recently decided she needs to sit on me. This isn't the bitch
Just during
cat.
show.
Yeah, this isn't the bitch cat. That other one's running around somewhere. But yeah, I think she's part Maine Coon. She's big. So yeah, I did not do any research on the cemetery before we left. I didn't do any on the way home.
Find out much.
Oh, Find a Grave's got a lot of information.
Yeah.
Is that how you found the guy that got killed by a gunshot?
No,
Find a Grave?
I just Googled his name.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
his
it brought
name's
it up
on there.
the news, the Where 3 channel, and it in there that it said that he was moving out of this apartment, and he was in there boxing stuff up, and some guys had come up in a Toyota, and somehow he got on top of their vehicle and jumped on top of their sunroof and broke it, and they took off. He went back in the home trying to finish packing his stuff, and then later on them guys came back and they shot him. So
Yeah, it's a sad story. I mean,
It
but
is.
again, he brought it on himself.
yes,
So, but nobody wants to hear that part.
yeah.
I mean, when it comes right down to it. And
Oh, I'm sure it was more to it than breaking the sunroof, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it didn't say anything about it being anything drug related or anything like that. So it could be something that got left out that they just, not even mention it, but
Right.
it was definitely had to have been something more there.
but that looked like the most recent burial up there. Everything else was a long time ago.
yeah,
I think there was 1972 I saw.
yeah. I got some.
Not
I
much
could-
more than that.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed
But you
out
could
there,
read. I mean, most of them you couldn't read.
there were so many children's graves.
No, yeah.
So many. And I guess we need to look around and see if there was, I mean, it's Florida. We know yellow fever swept through here.
Yeah, they had a board. When I looked at the board, there was a husband and wife. They had like 7 kids, and they just all died.
Yeah.
I think the oldest was 4.
That's sad.
That's as old as they got.
Well,
Was 4 years old.
one of the things that we found out when we were researching the cemetery here in Milton, the Milton Benevolent Cemetery, that's the historic one here, that they said that the first people buried here were all children because the older people could fight off yellow fever and all this stuff. It was the children that couldn't. So mostly it was children that were buried in the first, 15 years that the cemetery existed. So it could be the same there, that some illness came through and the kids couldn't fight it off. So who knows? You got a cough. You have any question? Can you tell everybody what your favorite piece of equipment is?
Well, my favorite thing to use, and it's not very expensive and people don't really think about it, is cat balls. I love using cat balls.
The light up ones, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just in case. We only have female cats. We have no cat balls.
Those are so much fun to use because, of course, I mean, you turn them on, you set them in the floor, and when you start getting activity and they start, rolling around and lighting up, it's like you really know you're on to something. And that's something that you can actually see instead of waiting for an EVP to go back and, listen to it and see if you've got anything. That's kind of a, hey, in your face now.
Yeah. That's what these things are good for.
This has a cat ball in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They threw them at us at the Mardi Gras. And it's like, I need one of those. I need to up my ghost hunting equipment. So I figure I'll just cut a hole in it and get the damn ball out.
Exactly. And a REM pod is a lot of fun to use because you can set it in the middle of the floor. And if you start getting activity, you can, have them come near it and back off. And those are a lot of fun as well. Yes.
And she's got one exactly like this one.
Yep.
What? There was something that somebody told us. Don't we have a sponsor video that needs to be played?
Well, I'm going to put the picture up on there. I haven't time to make a video yet. So let me add this to it. And okay. All our shows are sponsored by Ghost Gear that you can see and get some neat equipment that's going to be coming out and everything all over here. So make sure you check that out. And if you buy anything, the code in there, put BoRNTV and get 10% off of it. So check that out over there at Ghost Gear, at ghostgeartech.com.
So check that out, everybody. And if you have any questions, let us know, and we'll get the guest back on the show. So he can tell
we
us
just had
all
him
about
on
it.
there a couple weeks ago, and he was going over the equipment.
Yeah, Ron wants to get an epic box.
He'll have more equipment on there here in probably the next 30 days and everything because he had to order some more equipment in to make it.
Yeah, he had to get a new supplier.
Yeah.
So fun stuff. So, how often do you use equipment on your investigations? Everyone?
That really works.
Equipment that really works.
Is that his new motto? Equipment that really works.
You
that really works.
Talk to ghosts with ours.
I take, if I don't take anything with me, but I always have my REM pod. I have a K2 and I take my digital recorders and my dowsing rods. Those are always with me. I've got an SLS camera, and I've got a thermal gun. And those, I might break them out, I might not. Just all depending on the situation. I don't try to, I'm not a heavy packer. I like light. If I've got a side bag that I carry, and if it can fit in there, it fits in there. Otherwise, I don't carry it with me.
It's not a fanny pack, is it?
No, it's the lead pack.
I'm just giving you shit.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
we've
yeah.
seen some people with backpacks and the whole,
Gear,
man, they got everything.
commando gear.
Yeah.
And you saw what we had. That was our
Yeah.
camera, our recorder, our dowsing
You
rods.
didn't pull the camera out.
No, I didn't even take it out this time, but I used my cell phone for a camera.
Yeah, dowsing rod's definitely a graveyard.
Yes.
Right.
Especially when you don't know how old the graveyard is. You know, technology is scary to some of the dead. They don't know.
Yes.
So, have you ever had a piece of equipment that worked well in one place but didn't in another? Hi, Christine. I hope you're doing well
Hi,
and recovering
Christine.
from your stroke.
I have a K2 meter that has the temperature readings on it.
Yeah.
It worked fantastic at St. Albans. We used it several times there and throughout the night. But when I take it to Tala on second floor and Tala, it doesn't pick up anything where the other just regular K2s will pick up everything. But that one will not pick up anything on the second floor. It doesn't even really pick up a temperature change. And you can feel the temperature change.
Yeah.
And
You think you have a gremlin in it?
it could very well be. You know, it just, for some reason, that the second floor does not like that one.
You know, you're from North Carolina.
Yes.
I know that in South Carolina, a lot of people talk about the little green men. Yeah, in the hills.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard of that?
I've not ever heard of that.
Yeah, they say they're not aliens, but they're just little green guys that I can't say trolls. I can't say what they are, but we've had other people talk about them.
Can we say
we've
too
had-
much moonshine?
We've
Yeah,
had
like
others
maybe-
talk about the
Yeah.
little fairies up there too.
Well, you know, Helen, Georgia is not too far from the South Carolina line, which is Helen is an old Bavarian German style town. So they could be over there drinking a little too much and coming back and crossing into South Carolina and hallucinating.
Yep.
Well, I would go with, you know, they didn't get off enough of the heads in the woods.
Ooh.
Oh no,
Yeah.
they're blind now, but
yeah, up from where I'm from, we've got the Brown Mountain Lights.
Yeah.
And you know, because it's up in the mountains, there's a lot of things up there that, you know, I've really got to experience. I've seen the Brown Mountain Lights. Those are really neat.
What do they look like?
It's just lights that just like somebody's walking down with a lantern just through the woods on the mountain.
yeah, we saw a friend of ours did a film Into the Light, and they went out to the Brown Mountains, and you know, our friend Rick Rose was there along with David Glidden and Josh Hurd, and they witnessed something, but they didn't know what they were witnessing. Kat, she's gone out there many times. Kat Hobson, she's gone out there, and her husband, that's one of the few places he will go with her. He won't let her go by herself. He wants to make sure she has somebody with her. It could be for a couple reasons, but but we're going to go with, because he's afraid something's going to happen to her, because people have been abducted from out there.
Yes.
People go missing and never come back out there.
And
so,
yeah, the story that I was raised on with the Brown Mountain Lights is that the old train yard run through there, old train tracks, and a bunch of slaves escaped. And the owner at the time of the slaves was out with his lantern looking for his slaves and got hit by a train. That was what I was raised. That was the story I was raised listening to. But of course, I know the stories have, everybody, there's different stories depending on who you ask.
I've heard that too. I mean, yeah, I mean, about
I
different
didn't hear
places.
it. Some people thought it was UFOs or
They,
Bigfoot,
yeah.
just all different, things. I don't know. They didn't know what it was when they went out there.
Do you think you've ever witnessed a Bigfoot or UFO or UAP?
I believe I have witnessed a UFO. As far as a Bigfoot, other than my brother at Thanksgiving when he dressed up like Bigfoot to deliver food to his neighbors.
Oh, that would have been hilarious.
Oh, it was quite funny.
Just don't do it in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
No, it's legal to hunt them down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were actually stationed in Fort Irwin, California back in 2004. And of course, that's one of the big spots where NASA has their SETI satellites set up. And I was just sitting outside one night, and all of a sudden I looked up and there's something above me. It had about 13 different lights, and it was all in a circle. To a point that I freaked out, and I even called the MPs going, "Hey, what is going on?" Because it's a training facility for the Army. And so all I could think of was maybe they're out here doing some kind of training that nobody knows. And of course, I got blown off by the military police when I called them. But I'm sitting there looking at it going, this is not normal. There's something here. I don't know what. I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it. So to me, it's a UFO because it is an unidentified object. Flying object. It was there. I don't know how to explain it. And I never got any explanation from anybody.
Do you think you've ever lost any time due to maybe possible abduction?
No.
No?
No, I don't think I've ever been abducted. As far as losing time, I do that very well by myself, considering my age. So, but as far as anything like that, no, I can't ever say I've ever experienced anything like that.
Now, when we were talking on Saturday, you mentioned that you've met Andrea Perrin.
Yes.
A few times. And that you have witnessed her not conjuring. I mean, she lived at the Conjuring house as a child until she was 19 or something, you said. But you said you witnessed her summoning UAPs.
Yes.
How?
She was there, and she was. I don't know exactly what all she was exactly doing, but she was there, and I mean, we could see things coming down as she was. It was like she was drawing an energy towards her, and you could actually see this, and it's very unexplainable. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if she's just attracted to that energy.
Are there any videos of this online?
I don't know if there were or not.
Because Kat has said the same thing.
Yeah, I would think there'd be a video. I never even.
Kat Hobson, she was with her once, and she said she was there when she did it. And I never asked the question, was she meditating? Was she, making some kind of sound or anything like that?
She wasn't really making any sounds, but it was like she was in a trance, like in a meditation. And the woman has some great abilities. Absolutely adore her. And I mean, she can just cleanse you and open she'll put her hands on your shoulder and then, just make you at ease and then kiss you in the middle of the forehead and just it opens you up more, being more sensitive. She has a very unique gift.
I've heard a lot about her from other people. I have never interviewed her at this point. But I've heard her interviews quite often. And if she can stay off the politics, I'll have her on.
I heard you can't.
That's the only thing. I got to stay away from politics. So,
I don't like a lot of politics and a lot of religion. It's got its time and its place.
Yeah, this isn't the place.
No.
Tomorrow night's a whole different ball game. We never know what we're going to say on that show. On this show, we stick to paranormal and opinions that paranormal people might have, I guess.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just really very strange, that she went from writing books about the paranormal, about ghosts, to UFOs and aliens.
She is very interesting. Like I said, she has a very special gift in more senses than one. I don't know them all.
Yeah.
She's very enlightening. And I mean, she can really just to hear her testimonies and the things that she survived and she's lived through is amazing. And her father, Roger, is just to hear some of his stories is fantastic.
I'm just really interested in what was the catalyst to drive her towards UFOs.
Yeah, I've never asked her anything about that.
Like I said, that's one of the things I'll have to ask. What was the catalyst? I mean, because there's a catalyst that had you go into the paranormal. There was a catalyst for me. There was one for Ron. We all have that aha moment.
Right.
What was hers to say, this is what I can do now. I wonder if she believes that what she was witnessing at the Conjuring House, maybe she has a feeling that it might have been UFO related. I don't know. Because there's a lot of people a lot of people go with that ghosts aren't really ghosts, that they're aliens.
Right.
So like I said, I don't know. I'd have to ask. That's the thing. Have to ask. Because I always wonder about that kind of stuff, the out of body experiences versus the prolific dreams versus just that you're sleep paralysis. What do any of these things have in common, if anything?
Right.
So I mean, it's one of those things that'll get me started on asking the questions to try to figure out what the answer is, if there's an answer.
Right.
How often have you witnessed Andrea bringing down the ships, bringing them to where people could see them?
I've only witnessed once.
Okay.
And that at the Carolina Con, at the Paracon, we were all together there. She had come up. And so, but it was quite interesting because, I mean, it was dark. We were outside. We had just finished eating and we were just all standing around talking, and she just kind of, all of a sudden, she's looking up, and there, we're all kind of looking up and things are gravitating towards her. And so it
Just
wasn't a big spectacular show like, hey, look what I'm doing. It's just, it was there, it was happening, and we seen it.
Yeah, because I know that Kat said she's seen it multiple times, and I guess it's a see to believe kind of thing.
Yes, because even though I did have that experience in 2004, it's not something that I would have ever thought somebody could actually do. It's never occurred to me. For the most part, it's like, okay, yeah, there's something weird. I'm a kind of more of on lines of a skeptic. I've got to see it, and I've got to be able not to explain it. If I can explain it, then I've debunked it.
So the Brown Mountains, they have a history of UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts, and you've witnessed the lights. Did you witness anything else that you can think of when you're in the Brown Mountains?
No, not really. I mean, there's a certain spot that we go and sit during certain times of the year. Sometimes we don't see anything, and other times we see them. And it's all I've ever really seen there are just the lights in the just swinging back and forth, something swinging back and forth going through the mountain. So, I've never looked for anything else. I've never tried to explain anything else.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to go find out where those lights were coming from?
No, that was definitely somewhere I did not want to go alone. And nobody ever wanted to go with me.
I bet. I mean, it's a long from where a bunch of the viewing points are that you could see it from, I hear it's quite a distance.
It is. Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to cover it at night. You would have to see it one night and then the next day go and hang out over in that area at night.
Right.
Maybe that's where your FLIR would come in handy, or a night vision camera.
Yes.
See if there's any heat. Are there train tracks through that area? Now?
I don't know. I don't know if there's still anything in that area. I know there's a lot of tracks all throughout the mountains, and a lot of them, of course, aren't, there's not a lot of use for trains anymore nowadays. So, a lot of tracks are overgrown, not in use. So I don't really know what kind of tracks were out there, if any.
Okay. So, see, it comes down to it. The inquiring minds want to know, and that's usually me inquiring. And I'll ask questions that I may even already know the answer to, but I'll still ask it. So, if you could go any place at all, we're going to limit you to 5, because I know it's a lot. Where would you go to investigate?
The one spot that is on my bucket list that I hope to one day be able to do is Leap Castle in Ireland.
We got a lot more stuff in common than you believe. What? Watch this. Connie, what's your favorite color?
Purple.
We've seen each other twice, and we were both wearing purple both times.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if we ever get team shirts, we know what color they're going to be.
Absolutely.
Not black.
No. But yeah, Leap Castle is by far the number one. I want to go to Leap Castle. The second place, I really want to do the Winchester House. And, 2 other places on my bucket list are the Stanley Hotel and Myrtle's Plantation, which now I'm close enough to Myrtle's I can go.
That's probably going to happen.
Yes.
One way or another.
October, November?
I don't know, but they're
right in there. Yeah, we're working on it.
I know that Rob's got somebody working on it.
Yep.
Yes.
So
And Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, we got to go there.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm game. Let's go.
Way too many. I've heard way too many good stories about that.
especially
Supposedly
since
very active.
especially since
Yes.
Ronnie D bought it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's
He's cleaned it up. It's at least safe to go into where it wasn't before. So, and have you ever been to any further west than Ohio?
No, I have not yet. Other than, just with the military and living, but as far as for investigating, no.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to share some new experiences with you
Absolutely.
when we go, because we have not been. We're going to Ashmore Estates in October,
Mm-hmm.
and when we go there, we're going to stop by our old stomping grounds in Alton, Illinois, McPike Mansion. And Carl's coming to Ashmore with us. We were invited by a friend to come out, and
Susan and Mike.
Yep.
And so we're going to make sure that we make a trip out there. Carl, you want to tell Connie about the Paracon in Paragould?
Oh yeah, we're having a big paranormal horror convention down in Paragould, Arkansas. You can find it at scaredcityproductions.com and everything. It's put on by Santiago Sorello from The Walking Dead, real good friend of mine, and everything. And that's going to be, actually, it's going to be a week long. There's 3 days of paranormal investigating at the Scared City's haunted house. It's a haunted house attraction. And they have brought in an old metal jail that's sitting on the property from the early 1800s. And they have all the records of the people that were in that jail and who died in that jail. But
She's getting out her book.
Yeah.
Okay. The Paranormal Horror Show is July 13th, 14th, and 15th down there. The 3 days before that and everything, which would be the 8th, 9th, and 10th of July, is Paranormal Investigations at the haunted house. And Keith H is going to be down there and everything. We have a whole list of celebrities, especially if you're into the horror shows and things like that. We've got Leatherface that's going to be down there. We have a couple of people from The Walking Dead that's going to be down there this year and everything. I'm going to be a vendor down there with my laser engravings that I do and stuff. So go to scaredcityproductions.com and you'll find out all your information, ticket prices. If you want to be a vendor down there, it's got in the vendor down there, you'll get 3 days down there at the Paracon for $100 to sit in there. So that's a real good deal.
How much is it just to attend?
To attend?
Yeah, to attend.
It's not that high. Let me look this up real quick. And
What? No investigation? You mean?
No, just to go to the event.
let's see here.
And isn't this the week after the Battlefield Bash?
I think it's before.
Yeah.
No, it's,
When is the
let's
bash?
see.
Yeah, it's a week before.
oh yeah, the week. That's
26
actually,
to 20. Maybe 2.
it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
He's
General
going to that.
admission.
Who?
Santiago's going to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Your tickets are, let me see what it says here real quick. Come on. Click up. Okay. Tickets are $18
Wow.
and everything. And you can get a special price on it for, let's see, I think they have the 3 day yeah, let's see here. If I go there, click that and go down. The weekend pass is $45 for all 3 days. So
Okay.
that's good.
Well,
And they have a lot of different things going on down there. We're going to see a horror movie premiere down there that Santiago and a bunch of them are in. And down there, it's going to be shown. The Friday night at the event there, another big event will be going on. Inhumane Wrestling will have a wrestling ring set up. And they're bringing in the old wrestlers from the WWE, the NWO, and a bunch from the Inhumane Wrestling Association. So we got a lot of different things
it
going
is
on.
Arkansas.
It is. And
They'll all be new to me.
right. And the
Hello.
mayor
How
of
old they are,
Par-
you ain't gonna know 'em.
the mayor of Paragould, Arkansas wrote in the city's deal. The month of July belongs to the Haya Nation Paranormal Convention. The entire month is all paranormal down there. So it's going to be. Last year was his first time. They did real good. There was over 100 vendors there. Probably had about 3,000 people. This year, it's going to be a lot bigger.
Yeah, Tom. Santiago is cool, and we met him because
Santiago
of you.
is real good. And this whole convention is made for anti-bullying and suicide awareness. So you can catch Santiago on his podcast in the mornings and everything on the Haya Nation Paranormal Show.
Yeah, the funny thing is that Ron and I met not far from there, over in Blytheville, Arkansas, back in the day.
Right.
So,
And the hotels down there, you get a big discount when you sign up off the Scared City production page and everything. So,
and if you can't find a
pretty good.
hotel there, Jonesboro's not that far away.
No,
So,
it's not.
Hi, Vanessa.
hi, Vanessa. Oh, is Vanessa she's on Facebook.
I was gonna say I don't see her in chat.
She hasn't gotten in. He can see who's listening or may be in there that hasn't.
We need to get her back. We need to get her on there.
Yeah. We will get Vanessa Hokel back on at some point.
Our neighbor.
Yeah, it's not that far away.
And the haunted housewives will be down there this year too.
Yes. Hopefully she'll bring Ghost with her.
She might.
Her new little puppy. Beautiful Australian Shepherd with blue eyes.
Mm.
And Haunted Souls Paranormal will be down there.
Aren't they from the area? No, those are the guys that we met at.
Those are the guys we met that wore the kilts. I think they're from the St. Louis area, actually.
Yeah, but then they come to Joplin.
Yeah. And they'll be down at Paragould this year too.
They have kilts.
I don't think they had
I don't
on
think
kilts.
they did. I
They
don't
didn't
remember
have
anybody.
on kilts that day.
No, I don't remember anybody.
One of them did. The big tall guy.
Well,
He
he was
walked
probably hiding
around with
behind his
his black
table and I
kilt
didn't
on.
see him.
He was sitting down most of the time when you seen him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember anybody.
I'm sorry, but how many people that are that tall are going to stand up next to me and make me look that short?
A lot of them.
To talk to me eye to eye, they kind of have to sit down.
Yeah, they do.
Really, the only one that stood up to talk to me the whole time in Joplin was Aaron G. Thompson.
Yeah.
Don't forget the G.
Yeah, don't forget the G.
No, I got to give him shit. He's from 28 Days Haunted. We've known him. Shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Him
Yeah.
and Nick. Yeah.
Met him in 2018.
Yeah,
So-
and speaking of that 28 Days Haunted, the Madison Dry Goods that they did,
Oh, yeah, with Jeremy.
yeah, I didn't get a chance to get up there, but it was all that place was only about 45 minutes from where I lived.
Yeah.
And now my best friend Donna, she did go up there and she got to talk to him and she got to look around, but of course, you know, they don't let anybody just come in there and when they're not open.
Yeah, it's a store.
So-
I mean, but yeah, Jeremy. Shit.
Yeah, that's where he was at.
I've known Jeremy since before Ghost of Morgan City. Of course, I've known Katie and Katie for 10 years, 12.
Mm.
Since he moved to Kansas City. So I think it's been about 10 years.
Before he was
Katie
on any
Stafford
show.
is an equipment builder, and he was on Ghosts of
Ghost of-
Morgan City, but he was also on Ghosts of Devil's Perch.
Yep.
Yep.
So I keep giving Katie crap because she hasn't called me since we moved. I guess I'm not important now that I'm not just down the road. You know,
That's not.
you're going through the same thing, aren't you, Connie?
I am.
It's strange.
It's hard.
Are you loving it here?
Oh, I do. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world, with the exception of I'd love to see my grandkids more. Because they're still, of course, they're in North Carolina. But they're coming back down actually for the 4th of July. So they'll be down here for that week.
Well,
Yeah, they'll love it here.
Oh, they do. My granddaughter
Yeah.
is only 8, and she wants to move down here with me so bad.
well, hopefully they'll get to see the Blue Angels and the fireworks.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Did you hear how long that line, how bad the traffic was on 98 for that?
No.
They said it went from Pensacola almost all the way back to Destin,
Oh my gosh.
just inching around, and they were charging $150 to park.
Oh,
Jeez,
crap.
Pete.
Yeah, that's why you go to Target and
Yeah,
watch from
Watching
there.
for free.
Yeah.
Well, or we get the schedule and we just go and watch them somewhere.
Yeah, you can watch them practice.
Hey,
Well,
we can get
I was
Rob,
going to say they practice on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
right? But we
Yeah.
could get Rob to take us out to the lighthouse,
Yeah.
There you go.
or we can get Ron to take us out to the lighthouse. Actually, he's military. You're military. Are
We're
you still
military,
considered
yes.
military?
Yeah.
It's all we need is somebody who's military with ID.
Yeah.
Get us on the base.
Oh, we need to go to the lighthouse anyway.
Well, you don't even have to. You can get on the base without being military because the museum's open to the public.
Yeah, there's some places though that they'll let you go if you have a military ID. I was
Yes.
told. Oh, and we're going camping. Are you going to go camping with us all when we
I
go
had
camping?
planned on it. I think I know
Forgot
in
what it
May.
Blue Angels Campground.
Yes, and I think that was, when did he say that one?
Well, let me
June
see.
8th.
Yeah, June 7th and 8th. So be my birthday time.
And
So
yeah,
we'll
'cause-
have something fun to eat.
yeah, he was saying, I think we're doing the Blakely on May the 18th, which is really good because the week before I'm going to be in South Carolina
Mhm.
for being there as for my job.
Yep.
What pays my way to do what I'm doing.
Blakely's that's the one just north of Spanish Fort.
Yes.
I believe so.
Okay.
It was one of the last battles of the Civil War,
Yes.
I think is what he said. And
What's the Moose Lodge?
there's one of the team members, she works at a
When
moose
is that?
lodge.
Yeah, why are
Any-
those haunted?
any
We've heard a
Monday.
lot of people say it, and VFWs.
I will tell you why. That's where these people love to spend their time.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
It's where all their friends are. It's just like your dad playing cards at the senior center all those times. I could
It's
see
where
your
they
dad
go
hanging
to
out at
get
the
away
senior
from their
center.
wives.
oh, I
Or-
could see that.
or to meet that lucky woman.
Whoa. Now we know.
They're going to poke the beehive. We know what's going on here. Let's be honest.
We
Absolutely.
need to join the Moose Lodge.
We were my grandparents were in Loyal Order of the Moose. That's the Elks.
That's the Elks.
We have a friend that's in the Elks Club, and every time he'd talk about the Elks, he'd always go.
We always had to go like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hung out at the Moose Club when I was a kid back in the 70s. I loved it.
Yeah.
Learned how to polka and cha-cha and, all that fun stuff. So, but yeah, Tina, she works there one night a week on Thursdays, and the Moose is closed on Mondays. So any Monday night we can go investigate. We just have to all get together on what day it's going to be. And
Right.
Tina has to be there because she works there. So I'm still trying to know everybody's names.
Yes.
So
She only works there one night.
yeah, Thursdays. So she loves it. So, but she says they have all kinds of activity in that place all the time. And another friend of ours talks about the VFW hall there in Oklahoma being haunted. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what we all come up with. I mean, one of the things that Rob mentioned was maybe going out to Fort Morgan.
Yeah.
That place is expensive. So he's right. The only way we could do it is do it as an event.
Exactly.
So whether we get equipment out of it or not makes no difference. As long as we can get in basically for free, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you know what? As long as everybody has a good time, that's really all that matters. That's the biggest thing when you're doing tours, is that everybody has a good attitude and people have fun. So,
Yeah.
what?
And
Oh,
that's-
Susan said her grandfather managed Elks clubs in Seattle and Montana. So, Susan, were they also haunted? So, where can everybody find you, Connie?
well, I am on Facebook as Connie Henning. We also have our Spirits of the Southeast page on Facebook. Other than that, you can find me roaming around Pensacola.
And if you're looking for a team in Pensacola, contact the page at Panhandle Paranormal of Pensacola, and somebody will get back to you. And because from what I understand, one of the things that our team does a lot is private residence. So be aware of that. So if you have something going on in the area, who knows? One of us may show up. Who are you going to call?
We've done a lot of those.
So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, especially you, Connie, for coming on and getting to know you better. So at least when next time we see each other, we'll be huggy friends as opposed to, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
and join us tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central when our guest is Letriana Terry Brown. She's coming on and we'll find out what's been going on in her life. And Carl and Ron will be there too. So, and then next week, still don't know who my guest is going to be next Monday, but I guarantee I will find somebody that you guys are going to
Whoever
love.
we meet at the graveyard this week.
No.
Might
No.
bring one of the spirits to talk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But again, like I said before, I'm not planning shows in advance because I know that there's times that I don't feel well and I don't want to have you guys see me looking like that. So, and who knows? I could just really not be up to it. So keep that in mind. So, you should see this cat all the way across my lap.
She's out.
But yeah, join us next Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride. And good night, everyone. Thank
Good night.
you.